Alright, hello, and I've finally done it. I finally made the Pendulum Magician deck. Remember when I opened it off, the Pendulum Evolution, like 2 months ago, or whenever it was, whenever I uploaded that? And I said, I might do it. Well, I finally got around to doing it. But I wanted to wait until I got some card sleeves. And, since you're seeing this, I did have card sleeves. It's the Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight card sleeves. So, with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. So first, let's start with the main deck, the monsters. So, first, I have... Whoops, I almost didn't grab the other one. I have two Dragon Pulse. Wait, I friggin' said it wrong. Hold up. Okay. I have two Dragon Pit Magician and two Dragon Pulse. This is so I can easily set up some Pendulum plays and all that. At least I think that's how competitive works. I don't do competitive. Next up. Oh, and also, I am abiding by the recent ban list, which, as of this recording of this, is like the March ban list, or the April one, whenever the most recent one came out. I'm abiding by that one at the time of uploading this video. So next, two Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons. This is because this is like a hybrid mix between Pendulum Magicians and like Odd Eyes, so like Pendulum Magician, Pendulum Dragon. So, yeah. But, and I'm also running some cards in the extra deck that require Odd Eyes monsters. So, there's two of those. One, Double Iris Magician. It's because Konami praised the heavens up above. They gave us back Double Iris. Sure, it's only at 1, but take what you can get. No, give us Astrograph Sorcerer back, please. Also, please give us back Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. Please, I just love Pendulum so much, please. But, and you may be wondering, why is that? Well, if I'm being honest here, Pendulum was where I got my start. You know, I started watching the original Duel Monsters. Then after that, I jumped straight to Arc 5. I know, drastic jump. And like, that's when I saw Pendulum, I was like, oh, so cool. It's like, summon multiple monsters at the same time. I was like, I gotta have this. And as such, Pendulum has become my favorite deck type. Well, besides other decks, but like Pendulums really take the cake. Then let's see. Yes. Then next, we have two of each of the other, they're called like, I forget what they're called, they're like Spellcaster Dementia Dragons, but basically, two White Wing, two Purple Poison, and two Black Fang. Now, that's because, like, for these, not only are they good monsters to have in your Pendulum scales, with White Wing Magician being scale 1, Purple Poison being scale 1, and Black Fang and Double Iris both being scale 8. So not only that, but when they are destroyed, they have great effects. So, for example, White Wing Magician says, once per turn, when an activated card or effect resolves that targets a dark spellcaster type monster you control, negate that effect, destroy that target. Purple Poison says, once per turn, if your dark spellcaster type monster battles before damage calculation, you can activate this effect. The monster gains 1200 attack until the end of the damage step, then destroy this card. Now that's the Pendulum effect. And then this monster effect, other than cards like, oh, I guess I should read this now. White Wing, Purple Poison, and Double Iris say, in parentheses at the very beginning of the card text, this card is always treated as a Synchro Dragon, Fusion Dragon, Xyz Dragon, and Pendulum Dragon. White Wing is considered a Synchro Dragon, Purple Poison is considered a Fusion Dragon, Black Fang Magician is considered an Xyz Dragon, and Double Iris is considered as a Pendulum Dragon. Now, when I say that, I don't mean as in, like, the types of monsters. Like, there are Dragon-type Pendulum monster, or they're, like, like dragon type Xyz monsters. No. We mean cards like Starving Venom, Fusion Dragon, Clear Wing, Synchro Dragon, Dark Rebellion, Xyz Dragon. Those are in the card names, so that's essentially what they mean. But back to the actual card effects. Purple Poison, I read the Pendulum effects, but the monster effect says if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, which I believe does include its own effect, you can target one face-up card on the field, destroy it. Black Fang Magician. Once per turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its current attack until the end of this turn, then destroy this card. Then its other effect. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one dark spellcaster type monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Now these cards also... Oh wait, I guess I should first also read Double Iris. Double Iris says, once per turn you can target one dark spellcaster type monster you control, apply this effect to it, and then destroy this card. Once applied, double any battle damage that monster inflicts to your opponent this turn, if it battles an opponent's monster. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a Pendulum Graph card from your deck to your hand. And I'll tell you what a Pendulum Graph card is when we get to the spells and traps. But these cards are very reminiscent of their dragon counterparts. For example here, if we look at Double Iris, now it says double any battle damage that monster inflicts to your opponent this turn if it battles an opponent's monster. It's very reminiscent to Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon's monster effect, which is if this card battles an opponent monster, any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is doubled. White Wing. I think that's similar to Clear Wing. Maybe. I don't know. Clear Wing. Yeah, its Pendulum effect is reminiscent of Clear Wing's. One of Clear Wing's monster effects. It says when a level 5 or once per turn, when a level 5 or higher monster battles or activates an effect on the field, you can negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. So, similar to that. Purple Poison Magician. I think it's gaining 1200 attack is reminiscent to when Starving Venom, like Starving Venom says, you can make this card gain attack to one opponent's special summon monster until the end of the turn if fusion summoned. I think that's what it's supposed to be like. And then Black Fang says you can target one monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its current attack until the end of this turn, then destroy the card. It's very similar to Dark Rebellion's effect, where if you detach an Xyz material, you can target one opponent's monster. It loses half of its attack, but then Dark Rebellion gains that attack lost. One copy of Chronograph Sorcerer. It says if a card you destroy is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can special summon one monster from your hand. You can banish this card you control, plus 4 monsters from your hand, field, and or graveyard, one each with Pendulum Dragon, Xyz Dragon, Synchro Dragon, and Fusion Dragon in their names. Preferably either the original copies of the cards, so either Odd Eyes, Starving Venom, Dark Rebellion, or Clear Wing, or, as it's really supposed to be, like with this deck's playstyle, the Double Iris, Black Fang, White Wing, and Purple Poison, special summon one Supreme King Zark from your extra deck. Now, I don't have Supreme King Zark, because I just don't have him. He's in Maximum Crisis. I don't know if he's ever been reprinted, and if so, he's either in my vast collection, or I just don't have him. But, Supreme King Zark, I don't think is really played much anyway, so it's not really that big a deal. I'm sorry for my sniffles, by the way. It's bad. It's starting to get allergy season. I've got 2 Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon, 1 Odd Eyes Persona Dragon. This is for not only the Odd Eyes. This is not for only fusion monsters, but also their pendulum scales, being scale 1 and scale 8. 1 Oath Dragon Magician. It says its pendulum effect reads: if you have a Magician card in either Pendulum Zone, you're going to add 1 face-up Magician or Odd Eyes Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand, except Oath Dragon Magician. You can only use this effect once per turn. And then its monster effect: if this card is normal special summoned, you can target 1 Magician Pendulum monster or Odd Eyes monster in your graveyard, except Oath Dragon. Add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Oath Dragon Magician once per turn. So it's some good recursion. I like getting materials back. 2 Harmonizing Magician. Tuner monsters, of course. a scale 8 pendulum effect. If all monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense for each face-up magician pendulum monster with different names in your extra deck. Cannot be special summoned from the extra deck. This is the monster effect, by the way. Cannot be special summoned from the extra deck. Cannot be used as material for fusion, synchro, or Xyz summon, unless all the other materials are magician pendulum monsters. When this card is pendulum summoned from the hand, you can special summon one magician pendulum monster from your deck in defense position, except harmonizing magician, but it has its effects negated. Also banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of harmonizing magician once per turn. And then lastly, one of each of the Gazer magicians, Stargazer and Time Gazer. It's good for pendulum summons. It's good for setting up pendulum scales, As you can tell, I'm not really a competitive. This is more of a casual deck build, if anything. So that is the monster lineup. Now, on to spells and traps. So first up, one of Sky Iris. Your opponent cannot target magician, perform a power, or automate cards in your pendulum zone with card effects. You can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, add one Odd Eyes card from your deck to your hand. You can use this effect of Sky Iris once per turn. One copy of Super Polymerization. You all already know what Super Polymerization does. Discard a card, you can fusion summon using monsters from your field or the opponent's side of the field, or both if you feel so inclined. No cards can be activated in response. Dragon's Mirror. This is another fusion card. This just allows you to fusion summon a dragon-type fusion monster by banishing the materials from the field or graveyard. One copy of Amazing Pendulum. If you have no cards in your pendulum zones, add two face-up magician pendulum monsters with different names from your extra deck to your hand. You can only activate one Amazing Pendulum once per turn. Odd Eyes Fusion. Fusion summon one dragon-type fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. If your opponent controls two or more monsters and you control none, you can also use up to two Odd Eyes monsters in your extra deck as fusion material. You can only activate one per turn. Pendulum Call. Discard a card, add two magician pendulum monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. Also, until the end of your opponent's next turn after this card resolves, magician cards in your pendulum zones cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can activate one Pendulum Call per turn. You cannot activate this card if you activated a magician monster's pendulum effect this turn. Polymerization. You already know what polymerization does. It's the basic fusion summoning card. 3 copies of Star Pendulum Graph. This card is very important to the strategy. Your opponent cannot target spellcaster-type monsters you control with spell cards or effects. If a face-up magician, pendulum monster card or cards leaves your main monster zone or pendulum zone, add one magician pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. You can use this effect once per turn. One copy of Called by the Grave. Target one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Banish it, and if you do, until the end of the next turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of the monster with the same original name. One copy of Solemn Strike. Counter trap card. When a monster would be summoned or a monster effect is activated, pay 1,500 life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy it. 2 copies of Pendulum Reborn. It's essentially Monster Reborn, but for pendulums. Special summon one face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck, or a pendulum monster from your graveyard. 1 copy, Echo Oscillation. You can target one card in your pendulum zone, destroy it, then draw 1 card. You can only use this effect once per turn. And then lastly, 3 Time Pendulum Grabs. Your opponent cannot target spellcaster-type monsters you control with trap effects or cards, or trap cards or effects, sorry. You can only use the following effective Time Pendulum Graph once per turn. You can target one magician pendulum monster in your main monster zone or pendulum zone, and 1 card your opponent controls, destroy them. Then, if this effect did not destroy 2 cards, you can send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. So that's our spells and our traps. And lastly, we're going to be moving on to the extra deck. So, 1 copy, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. It's a great super polymerization target. It's also generic summoning effect. 2 dark monsters on the field. except tokens. Now, a majority of cards in today's metagame are dark monsters, and so it makes Striving Ground Fusion Dragon a great option. And also, Super Polymerization, now that it's back, and it has been for a while, makes Starving Venom a great Super Poly target, because you can just snatch 2 dark monsters from your opponent's side of the field. Boom, you get a powerful 2800 attack level 8 monster. So, I don't see the downsides of that. Plus, also, Super Poly cannot be negated. I'm pretty sure, anyway. 3, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. That's why this card is why I had so many Odd Eyes cards in my deck. It's 1 Odd Eyes plus 1 Pendulum monster. When this monster is special summoned, you can target 1 face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. During either player's turn, when a spell, trap card, or another monster's effect is activated, you can shuffle 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck into the deck, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. You can always use this effect of Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon once per turn. There's 3 in here simply because of how great of an effect it is, and also it can be very easy to get out. 1 copy, Clearwing Synchro Dragon. I already went over what this card does, but it's a great level 7 Synchro. Yeah, it's just how it be. Once per turn, when another level 5 or higher monster activates its effect on the field, you can negate the activation if you do destroy it. Once per turn, when a monster effect is activated that targets 1 level 5 or higher monster on the field and no other cards, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If this card's effect destroys a monster, this card gains attack, it will destroy monster's original attack until the end. Okay, so I know the video randomly cut out, and honestly, I don't know why. I forget what card I was even on, but actually I think if I I don't remember, but I was saying how, this build, or like this version of Pendulum Magician isn't really played much today, considering we had the Order of the Spellcaster Structure deck, which gave us the Endymion Pendulum cards. They're spellcasters, they're pendulums, So that's really what's played more often than like this type of build. But, this type of build still kind of brings me back to, my first days of playing the game and seeing Pendulum Magicians in action. Because, Pendulum Magicians, like this version, was originally a top-tier deck back in 2017, because they had, like, Double Iris at 3, Astrograph at 3, stuff like that. But, yeah, that's the end of the deck profile. I appreciate you all watching, and have a awesome day.